True strength begins when you think less, talk less, and focus more. There is a man sitting in the middle of a crowded room. Everyone is talking. Everyone is arguing. Everyone is fighting to be heard. But he says nothing. He does not argue. He does not defend himself. He does not explain his choices to anyone who did not ask. He simply watches. He listens. And then, quietly, he acts. People call him cold. They call him arrogant. They call him distant. But here is what they do not understand. He is not cold. He is not arrogant. He is not distant. He is strong. And his strength is the kind of strength that most people have never been taught to build. Welcome. If this is your first time here, this channel is dedicated to one thing: helping you build a life of real power through the philosophy of Stoicism. And today, we are going to talk about the 3 disciplines that separate the truly strong from everyone else. Think less. Talk less. Focus more. These are not just ideas. These are weapons. And by the time this video is over, you will understand exactly how to use them. Part 1. The Tyranny of Overthinking. The ancient Stoics had a phrase. Marcus Aurelius wrote it in his private journal, a journal he never intended for the world to read. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here is the tragedy of the modern age. Most people have surrendered power over their own minds without even realizing it. We live in a world that rewards overthinking. We are praised for analyzing. We are celebrated for worrying. We are told that if we think hard enough about a problem, it will eventually surrender to us. But the Stoics knew differently. Epictetus, the freed slave who became one of the greatest philosophers in history, taught his students something radical. He told them that most of their suffering was self-created. Not caused by events. Not caused by other people. But caused by the stories they told themselves about events and people. Think about the last time you were kept awake at night. Was it because of a real, physical threat? Was there something tangible threatening your life in that moment? Almost certainly not. You were kept awake by thoughts. By scenarios you had constructed in your own mind. By outcomes that had not happened and might never happen. By conversations replayed. By insults rehearsed. By futures imagined. The mind, left unchecked, becomes a prison. And most people are serving a life sentence inside their own heads. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He was the most powerful man in the world, Emperor of Rome. He commanded armies. He made decisions that affected millions of lives. And yet, in his private writing, he constantly reminded himself of one thing. Do not be controlled by what you cannot control. This is the first discipline of true strength. Not thinking more. Not analyzing more. Not planning more. But learning the radical skill of thinking less about the things that do not deserve your mental energy. Now, when I say think less, I am not talking about becoming passive. I am not talking about ignoring reality. The Stoics were not dreamers. They were not avoiding the world. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Seneca advised emperors. Epictetus trained philosophers and generals. What I mean is this: learn to distinguish between productive thought and corrosive thought. Productive thought moves you toward a decision. It helps you understand a situation and choose a response. It is purposeful. It has an endpoint. Corrosive thought circles. It loops. It replays. It catastrophizes. It dresses itself up as preparation, but it is actually fear wearing a disguise. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire. It is the practice of only desiring what you can control and releasing your grip on everything else. And here is the critical insight: when you stop pouring mental energy into things you cannot change, something extraordinary happens. The energy does not disappear. It redirects. It flows toward action. It flows toward creation. It flows toward the present moment. Seneca wrote, "It is not that I am brave. It is that I have identified the things that are worthy of fear, and very few things qualify." The overthinker has not done this work. He has not audited his fears. He treats every uncomfortable thought as equally urgent, equally real, equally deserving of his attention. So his mind is perpetually exhausted, perpetually distracted, perpetually at war with itself. The Stoic does the opposite. He looks at his fears directly. He asks, "Is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release." And then he moves. This is thinking less. Not the absence of thought, but the discipline of thought. The ruthless editing of mental activity so that only what serves you remains. Here is a practice. Tonight, when you lie down, do not immediately reach for your phone. Do not turn on something to distract yourself. Sit in the quiet and let your thoughts come. Then, for each thought that arrives, ask one question: can I do anything about this right now, in this moment? If yes, write it down and plan to act tomorrow. If no, consciously release it. Say to yourself, out loud if necessary, "This is not mine to carry." Do this every night for 1 week. Watch what happens to your energy. Watch what happens to your clarity. Watch what happens to your sense of power over your own life. Thinking less is not weakness. It is the beginning of mastery. Part 2: The Power of Silence. Now we come to the second discipline. And this one is perhaps the most misunderstood of all. Talk less. In the modern world, we are addicted to expression. We are addicted to sharing. We are addicted to explaining ourselves, defending ourselves, announcing ourselves to anyone who will listen. Social media has weaponized this addiction. Every platform is engineered to reward you for speaking more, broadcasting more, performing more. The more you share, the more attention you receive. The more attention you receive, the more you want to share. It is a cycle that feels like connection but is actually a form of fragmentation. You are breaking yourself into pieces and distributing them to strangers. And every piece you give away is a piece that is no longer yours. The Stoics had a different relationship with silence. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, was once asked why he listened more than he spoke. His answer has stayed with me. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should use them in that proportion." But Zeno's silence was not passivity. It was strategy. It was power. It was the recognition that words, carelessly spent, are one of the most expensive currencies in human life. Think about the people you respect most. The ones who carry genuine authority in a room. Notice something about them. They do not speak constantly. They do not fill every silence with noise. When they choose to speak, people lean forward. People pay attention. Because their words are rare, their words carry weight. Now think about the people who speak constantly. Who have an opinion on everything. Who feel compelled to announce every thought the moment it arrives. Notice how differently people receive them. The words are plentiful but somehow worthless. Because abundance destroys value. In language as in everything else. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "Confine yourself to the present." And part of what this meant was, stop narrating. Stop announcing. Stop performing your life to an audience. Simply live it. There is a deeper reason the Stoics valued silence. And it goes beyond strategy. When you talk less, you hear more. When you hear more, you understand more. When you understand more, your actions become more precise, more effective, more genuinely powerful. Most people in a conversation are not listening. They are waiting. They are constructing their next response while the other person is still speaking. They are so focused on what they are about to say that they completely miss what is being said to them. This is how arguments escalate unnecessarily. This is how misunderstandings become conflicts. This is how relationships decay, not from malice, but from the simple failure to actually listen. Epictetus taught his students a practice. Before speaking, pause. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is what I am about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it does not pass all 3, remain silent. The world will not suffer from the absence of your words. But it might suffer from their presence. Now let us talk about something that might be uncomfortable. Many of us talk too much not because we have too much to say, but because we are afraid. Afraid of silence. Afraid that if we stop talking, we will disappear. afraid that our worth is measured in our visibility, our volume, our constant presence in every conversation. This fear is a form of insecurity masquerading as confidence. Real confidence is comfortable with silence. Real confidence does not need to announce itself. Real confidence does not need validation from every room it enters. The man I described at the beginning of this video, the one sitting quietly while everyone else argued, he was not passive. He was powerful. His silence was not absence. It was presence. Concentrated, intentional, unshakable presence. There is also a practical dimension to talking less that the Stoics understood deeply. Every word you speak that is unnecessary is a word that could have been thought. Every thought you speak before it is fully formed is a thought that loses its power in the translation. Some of your best ideas, your most important insights, will only fully reveal themselves if you give them time in the dark, before you bring them into the light. Great artists know this. Great generals know this. Great leaders know this. You do not share the plan before the plan is ready. You do not announce the vision before the vision is clear. You work in silence. You build in silence. And then you let the results speak. The Stoics called this the discipline of action. Not the discipline of announcement. Not the discipline of performance. The discipline of actual, genuine, concrete action. And action does not require an audience. Here is the practice. For one full day, commit to speaking only when spoken to, or when you have something genuinely necessary to say. Observe the discomfort. Observe the urge to fill silence with words. Observe how many times you want to speak not because you have something valuable to offer, but simply because the silence feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is important information. It is showing you the places where your peace is still dependent on external noise. Sit with it. Let the silence be. And notice what grows in the space you have created. Part 3: The Art of Focus. We arrive at the third discipline. And in many ways, it is the culmination of the first two. Focus more. Now you might be thinking, this sounds simple. This sounds like obvious advice. Of course, focus is important. We all know focus is important. But here is what I want to challenge you on. Do you actually know what focus means? Not in theory. Not as an abstract concept. But in practice, in your actual daily life, do you know what it means to truly focus? Because I believe most of us have never actually experienced it. We have experienced the feeling of trying to focus. We have experienced the intention to focus. But true focus, the deep, sustained, undistracted attention on one thing for an extended period, is becoming one of the rarest experiences in modern human life. And this is not an accident. Every technology platform you use is specifically engineered to destroy your focus. The notifications, the infinite scroll, the algorithmic feeds designed to keep you in a state of constant low-level stimulation, these are not accidental features. They are deliberate design choices made by people who understand that your attention is their product. And they have become extraordinarily good at harvesting it. The result is that we are living in an age of unprecedented distraction. We are information-rich and wisdom-poor. We are connected to everyone and present with no one. We are busy constantly but accomplishing far less than our effort deserves. The Stoics could not have imagined the specific form this problem takes today. But they understood its root cause perfectly. They called it akrasia, the condition of acting against your own better judgment. Of knowing what you should do and doing something else instead. Of wanting to focus and reaching for your phone. Of intending to work and finding yourself watching videos 3 hours later without understanding exactly how you got there. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." The modern version of this might read, "Never allow anything to steal from you the time and attention that belongs to your most important work." Because here is the truth that Stoicism forces us to confront. Your time is finite. Your attention is finite. Every moment you give to distraction is a moment you cannot give to creation. Every hour you spend scattered is an hour you cannot spend building. This is not a metaphor. This is arithmetic. And yet we spend these irreplaceable hours as though they are nothing. We give them away to platforms and algorithms and endless cycles of consumption. And we call it relaxation, and we tell ourselves we will focus tomorrow. But tomorrow comes. And tomorrow, we do the same thing. Seneca wrote, near the end of his life, words that should be carved into the wall of every person who has ever complained about not having enough time. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it." This is one of the most uncomfortable truths in all of philosophy. We do not lack time. We lack the discipline to use the time we have. Focus is that discipline. But here is what the Stoics understood about focus that goes beyond simple productivity advice. Focus is not just a strategy for getting more done. Focus is a form of respect. When you give your full, undivided attention to something, to a person, to a task, to a moment, you are treating it as worthy of the full power of your consciousness. You are saying, with your attention, that this matters. And when you give your full attention to your own most important work, to the thing you are building, the person you are becoming, the life you are creating, you are saying that your own potential matters. You are saying that your own gifts deserve to be fully expressed, not scattered across 1,000 trivial distractions. This is why the Stoics connected focus so deeply to virtue. Not because virtue sounds impressive, but because virtue, in the Stoic sense, means living in alignment with your highest capacities. It means being fully, genuinely, unapologetically yourself, your best self, as much of the time as possible. You cannot be your best self in a scattered state. You cannot create your best work in a fragmented mind. You cannot build your most important relationships while your attention is divided between the person in front of you and the device in your hand. Focus is the bridge between potential and reality. And crossing it requires the first two disciplines we discussed. Because you cannot truly focus if your mind is saturated with overthinking. You cannot concentrate your energy on what matters if half of your mental bandwidth is spent on fears you cannot control, scenarios that have not happened, and stories you tell yourself about people who are not thinking about you. And you cannot truly focus if you are constantly broadcasting. Every time you announce what you are doing before you do it, you leak energy. Every time you seek validation for your plans before you execute them, you dilute your commitment. The person who tells everyone about their goals before achieving them has spent the emotional energy that should have been converted into action. The Stoic builds in silence. The Stoic focuses without an audience. The Stoic understands that results are the only announcement that matters. Here is what focused living actually looks like in practice. It means knowing, at the beginning of every day, what the one most important thing you must accomplish is. Not 10 things. Not 5 things. One thing. The thing that, if you did only this today, the day would be a success. And then it means protecting that task with every tool available to you. It means turning off notifications. It means closing unnecessary tabs. It means communicating to the people around you that this time is sacred. It means treating your deep work as though it is a meeting you cannot cancel, because in truth it is a meeting with your own potential. The Stoics practice something called memento mori, the remembrance of death. This sounds dark, but its purpose is powerful. When you genuinely internalize the fact that your time here is limited, when you feel it not as an abstract concept but as a living reality, the question of what deserves your focus becomes suddenly, urgently clear. You will not lie on your deathbed wishing you had spent more time scrolling. You will not regret the hours of quiet work. You will not wish you had given less of yourself to the things that truly mattered. The only regret, at the end, is the unlived life. The abandoned potential. The work that was never done because there was always something smaller and easier to do instead. Focus more. Not as advice. As survival. Part 4. Integration, the life these disciplines create. Now let us bring these 3 disciplines together. Because they are not separate practices. They are a single practice with 3 expressions. When you think less overthinking, less mental noise, less energy given to what you cannot control, your mind becomes clear. And a clear mind is a powerful mind. It sees further. It decides faster. It acts without the paralysis of endless analysis. When you talk less performance, less validation seeking, less energy given to announcing instead of doing, your presence becomes concentrated. And concentrated presence is magnetic. People trust the person who speaks rarely and means it. People follow the person who builds without broadcasting. When you focus more sustained attention, more deep work, more energy given to what genuinely matters, your results become extraordinary. Not because you are working more hours, but because you are finally using the hours you have at their full capacity. These three disciplines together create something the Stoics called eudaimonia. The word is usually translated as happiness, but that translation is too small. Eudaimonia means flourishing. It means living at the full expression of your capacities. It means being genuinely, authentically, completely alive. And it is available to you. Not someday. Not after you fix everything that is wrong with your life. Now. Today. In the next decision you make. In the next conversation you choose to have or not have. In the next hour you choose to protect or give away. Marcus Aurelius was not born a philosopher. He was not born stoic. He trained himself, every day, through private practice and private writing, to embody the principles he believed in. He failed often. His journals are full of reminders and corrections and repeated instructions to himself about things he had not yet mastered. But he kept practicing. Because the Stoics understood something that our culture has largely forgotten: character is not given. It is built. Through repetition. Through discipline. Through the daily, unglamorous, private commitment to becoming the person you intend to be. You are not defined by your intentions. You are defined by your habits. And your habits are choices, every single one of them, made moment by moment, day by day. The choice to think less about what does not serve you. The choice to talk less and build more. The choice to focus your limited time and energy on what genuinely matters. These are the choices that create a life of true strength. I want to leave you with this. True strength is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not seek your approval. It does not need to defend itself, or explain itself, or perform itself for an audience. True strength is the man in the crowded room who says nothing and misses nothing. Who acts when action is called for, and rests when rest is called for. Who knows the difference between what is his to carry and what is not. Who has done the private, invisible work of mastering himself, and because of that, is capable of anything. This is what Stoicism offers. Not a philosophy for avoiding life, but a philosophy for living it fully. Not a set of rules to follow, but a set of principles to embody. Not a destination to arrive at, but a direction to move in, every day, for the rest of your life. If this video gave you something real, if something here shifted something in you, even slightly, then do one thing for me right now. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Because this is what we do here. Every single video on this channel is built around one purpose: helping you become the strongest, clearest, most grounded version of yourself through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. We are building a community here, a community of people who are done settling for a scattered, reactive, distracted life. People who are choosing, deliberately and daily, to think clearly, speak purposefully, and focus fiercely. If that is the life you want, and I believe it is, or you would not still be here, then subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs it. Leave a comment below and tell me, which of the three disciplines is the hardest for you right now? Thinking less, talking less, or focusing more? I read every comment. I mean that. And I will see you in the next one. Stay strong. Stay silent. Stay focused.